This month, I'm talking about early warning signs fleets shouldn't ignore, why 2026 planning is already in motion, what zero downtime service really looks like, and the leadership lessons shaping the next generation of fleet pros. Plus, our latest video series spotlights and a few quick hits you'll want on your radar. Hey there, work truck friends. Lauren Fletcher here with your Truck Chat Monthly Recap, where I break down what's new, what's next, and what's actually useful for the fleets that keep things moving. And right now, that means thinking ahead. Risk management, cost pressure, AI curiosity, service uptime, and how leadership shows up when everything feels like it's accelerating at once. But before we jump in, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. All right, let's get right on into it. First up, driver complaints. And I don't mean the occasional bad day rant. I mean patterns. In More Than Annoying, we looked at how driver complaints can act as leading indicators of loss. Think about it this way. Drivers experience your operation in real time. If multiple drivers flag the same delivery site, the same intersection, the same yard congestion, that's not attitude, that's data. Instead of treating complaints as HR noise, the article suggests building a simply monthly friction review. Pull driver feedback, dispatch notes, telematics data, near-miss reports, and look for overlap. Are tight backing conditions increasing harsh braking events? Is a certain route producing more claims? Are parking limitations creating rushed decisions? When you connect driver voice with operational data, you can fix risk before it becomes a claim. That's a shift from reactive safety to predictive safety. Next, 2026 is already here, whether you're ready for it or not. Our industry outlook makes one thing clear. Fleets are moving from managing trucks to managing systems. Budgets are tighter, insurance underwriting is stricter, equipment costs are higher, and that means every investment needs a measurable outcome. The fleets that are ahead right now are doing scenario planning. They're asking, if tariffs shift, what's our backup sourcing plan? If uptime drops by 5%, what's the revenue impact? If AI tools automate reporting, where does that free up labor? This isn't about chasing shiny tech, it's about building flexible operations that can absorb volatility. And speaking of uptime, Ford Pro's Zero-Downtime ecosystem is a strong example of where service is headed. The real lesson here isn't brand specific, it's structural. Connected vehicles feeding live health data into a centralized platform means repairs start before the truck even hits the service lane. Pre-staged parts shorten dwell time, and if you're evaluating service partnerships, ask yourself, can the provider see fault codes before arrival? Are approvals automated? Do you have data sharing between fleets and dealers? The faster information moves, the faster trucks move. And in leadership, Sue Miller reminds us that listening is operational strategy. When leaders actually listen, they surface blind spots faster. Trust will reduce friction and teams will communicate earlier. That prevents small issues from becoming big ones. And Debi McClendon's story reinforces something newer fleet managers really need to hear. You don't need decades of truck knowledge to build credibility. You need structure, policy, documentation, communication up and down the chain, and the confidence to say, we're going to standardize this. Both stories are leadership in action, not theory. Check them out and stay tuned for our next episodes featuring two more names you're sure to recognize if you've been in fleet for a bit, Carl Nelson and Robert Martinez. Now let's shift into video spotlights because we've got a lot of good stuff this month, and I want to start with our newest video series, Shades of Fleet, which we launched in January to make more room for real conversations about the people side of fleet. The stuff that shapes careers, leadership, and who actually gets heard in this industry. First up was Shades of Fleet New Voices. This one is basically the welcome to fleet conversation nobody gets on day one. We asked newer professionals what surprised them the most, what they wish they knew sooner, and what helped them find their footing. And the answers are honest in the best way. It's about imposter syndrome, learning the language, figuring out how decisions actually get made, and realizing that relationships matter just as much as systems. If you've got someone new on your team or you're mentoring someone who's early in their fleet career, this is a must share because it sparks the kind of conversations that make people stick around longer. Next, Black Voices define real visibility in fleet. This episode goes deeper, and it's an important one. The conversation isn't about being seen in the industry. It's about what visibility actually looks like when it comes with access, support, and influence. One of the biggest takeaways here is the difference between mentorship and sponsorship. A mentor gives advice. A sponsor goes to bat for you in rooms you're not in. That's where careers change. It's a thoughtful, clear-eyed discussion about what it takes to create real opportunity and what fleets and partners can do if they're serious about building stronger leadership pipelines. And as we look ahead to March, Shades of Fleet is shifting focus to women driving change, spotlighting women who are leading, innovating, and reshaping what leadership looks like across fleet. So, if you've been following the series so far, you'll want to stay with us into next month. We also went behind the scenes at IMT's Iowa production facility, and if you're the kind of person who loves seeing how the equipment actually gets built, this is a good one. Robotic welding, precision cutting, paint line, crane testing, it's one of those videos that makes you appreciate how much craftsmanship and process goes into the stuff fleets depend on every day. And we rounded out the month with a couple practical ones that feel, well, necessary. One is the hidden cost of cheap repairs, because we've all seen it. You save a little money in the moment, and then you pay for it twice later. More downtime, repeat fixes, extra labor, sometimes bigger damage. It's a good reminder that cheapest and most cost-effective are rarely the same thing. And then winter breakdown prevention, which honestly is less about winter and more about what winter exposes. Batteries that were already weak, air systems that needed attention, tires that were borderline. Cold weather just pulls the mask off. This one's a solid quick watch if you want to reset on what to check before the next cold snap turns into a roadside call. Okay, now for some quick updates you might have missed. Bobbitt Business Media expanded its fleet tech footprint with the acquisition of key Roads partner portfolio assets, strengthening the FleetSource platform and expanding digital sourcing opportunities for fleet technology providers. We're streaming the Upfit Package of the Year awards live from Work Truck Week, so you can catch the winners and innovation highlights in real time. And new data shows fleets are exploring AI, but most are still in pilot mode. Curiosity is high, but full deployment is still cautious. Trust and accuracy remain the sticking points. And Cummins is offering a $500 owner courtesy payment tied to emissions recall 67A for 2013 through 2018 Ram's 6.7-liter diesel trucks. If you're running those units, it's worth checking your eligibility. And finally, closing things out with something very close to my own heart. Team Fletcher is officially building for the 2026 Corporate Soapbox Derby Challenge. From ideation to unboxing to building and hitting the finish line, we're documenting the entire journey. And it's all in support of technician scholarships through the Hourglass Foundation. So if you want to follow along as this thing takes shape and eventually hits the track, head to Work Truck Online and keep an eye out. This one's going to be fun. But if you want to make a difference, get your logo on the Team Fletcher car and get your sponsorships in today. Well, that's it for this month. Risk signals hiding in plain sight, 2026 planning in motion, smarter uptime strategies, leadership lessons, real conversations about visibility, AI curiosity, and a derby car in progress. If something here helped you or you just enjoy hanging out, hit that like button, subscribe to Trek Chat, and share this with your fleet crew. And if you want more news, more videos, more fleet how-tos, and deeper dives than we can fit into one episode, head on over to our website and take a look around. There's always something new. I'm Lauren Fletcher, and I'll catch you next month with more insights, more updates, and more of what keeps your fleet rolling.